A certain dark side item is the latest new anime entry in the ever-expanding Toaru franchise, and as someone who has read the light novel, it has huge potential to be a hit, not just with hardcore fans of the Toaru series like me, but also general anime fans across the world. Even if you're unfamiliar with Toaru and haven't seen either a Certain Magical Index or a Certain Scientific Railgun, I'm going to tell you why Item should be on your radar. Like the other entries in the Toaru franchise, Anbu no Item is a sci-fi battle series which takes place in Academy City, a section of Tokyo sealed off from the rest of the world, where students go to develop psychic powers. Item takes place 1 year before the main timeline of Index and Railgun, focusing on a dark side group known as Item, who work for criminal clients in the city, with their main function being to watch over Academy City's board of directors. The series is a spin-off of a Certain Magical Index, in which Item made their debut in volume 15 of the Index light novel, although they first appeared in the second season of a Certain Scientific Railgun on the anime side of things. There are 4 main members of Item, although they do have support members working for them doing crap ob jobs, and are easily replaceable. Each main member has either their own unique Esper power or is a technical specialist who cannot produce any supernatural power. Mugano Shizuri is the main character in the spin-off, and the leader of Item. She's one of the strongest Espers in the city, being ranked 4th out of the 7 level 5s of Academy City. She possesses the Meltdowner ability, where she can launch beams of light, which atomize anything that they touch. Despite her pretty face, Mugano is a sadist and has a crazy murderous side to her, but at this point in the timeline, she has a soft spot for her comrades. Then there's Takitsubo Riko, who is a level 4 Esper with the AIM Stalker power. Stalker by name, Stalker by nature, as she has the ability to track down any Esper, even if they would happen to leave the planet. And Mugano forces her to be a druggie. Takitsubo isn't as violent as the other Item girls, and is really important as a support member of the team. She has a more reserved personality, but has huge potential as an Esper. Then there is Frenda Saverlin, who is a level 0, and is Norwegian. While she has no power, Frenda specializes in explosives, which she pulls from her Mary Poppins handbag in the form of her ass. While Frenda can be ruthless towards her enemies, she also has a good nature to her, as she wants to keep her loved ones away from the dark side, and has the talent to make friends with just about anyone. You got a Frenda in me, huh? Lastly, you have Kinohata Sai, a level 4 Esper with the Offense Armor power, which lets her manipulate nitrogen to shield herself and amp her physical strength. Kinohata's thought patterns are influenced by the number 1 level 5, Accelerator, due to being experimented on in the past, which causes her to say the word super in almost every freaking sentence. Oh, and she has a strange passion for B-movies, as the scientists who experimented on her would use them as cheap entertainment for kids like her, and for brainwashing. By the way, if you'd like to see a full video of every Item member explained, including Super Hamazura, then subscribe to the channel. The Item spin-off also introduces a brand new girl as Item's newest recruit, Hanano Chobi, another powerless level 0 who is quite timid and seems out of place in Academy City's criminal underworld. Nevertheless, she has an amazing talent with cosmetics and has decent acting skills, which Hanano uses to seamlessly disguise herself as anyone she wants. The plot of Item revolves around a group doing dirty work for the mysterious voice on the phone liaison, where the girls receive orders from, which ranges from infiltrating illegal deathmatch arenas and murdering a lab full of shady scientists. While the Item spin-off is a prequel, it isn't exactly an origin story of the group, but it does show how a version of Item we are all familiar with came to be. Without giving too much away, the Item girls get caught up in a conspiracy of another dark side group very similar to their own, as they attempt to eliminate each other. Again, not giving too much away for spoiler reasons, but the subsequent volumes explore parts of Mugano's past, in addition to Item having to survive against other dark side organizations, all while a mysterious threat known as the Dark Side's Bane looms in the shadows. There are currently 4 volumes of the Item light novel, with the 4th due to release in March 2025. And 1 volume of the manga, with the manga being an alternate version of the light novel story. The manga does add some original scenes that do not appear in the first volume of the light novel, which pad out some of the events of the story and adds additional lore in regard to Mugano's family. Oh yeah, and there's a giant fucking walrus. Not really relevant, but I just wanted to point that out. In regard to the anime adaptation of Item, I'm curious to know what direction JC Staff will take in regard to adapting the story. Will it be more like the light novel or the manga? In my opinion, I think they will take initial inspiration from the manga, since they will have more scenes to adapt, which will fill out more episodes. But both the light novel and the manga don't have many volumes at this point in time, so the manga's influence might not be as drastic as the story continues. I just hope some scenes aren't cut down like they were in the manga, such as the peak fiction jogging Mugano scene. Plus, it is far easier to adapt a manga into an anime than a light novel, especially for the Toaru franchise. I am curious to see if they will have enough content for the typical 24 episode Toaru season. I think they will by the time it releases, and at the same time, I do think a 12 episode run like the Accelerator spin-off would feel too short, at least as I imagine it in my head. I also really hope they take the typical Toaru anime character designs with some influence from the manga art style and avoid the light novel art altogether. I was never really a fan of the Item light novel art. It's not that it's bad art per se, I just don't think it really suits a series that has a more dark and gritty tone. It just looks too cutesy and moe. I know it's popular to contrast cute anime girl designs with bloodshed and violence, but the manga designs just look more slick to me. I guess it might be because the light novel art just feels very distinct compared to the art in the other entries of the Toaru franchise. Now I want to go over why Item could possibly get more anime fans to discover the franchise. But Aeon, shouldn't we gatekeep this series for modern anime fans? Honestly, I don't get this rhetoric at all. If this franchise is to continue for the future, then both Item and Railgun 4 will need to be successful. It's dumb as hell to expect all of the old audience to return, so new viewers are essential. Even the Item mangaka thinks if the Item anime is successful, we might get New Testament anime. And it is my duty to spread the holy Toaru gospel to all those willing to hear it. Kadokawa are showing a lot of faith in Item, with it getting a manga adaptation announcement on the same goddamn day as the first light novel released. They didn't even wait to see if its sales were good. They just went for it, and I respect that. And it can't have been doing too badly, since 2 years later, we have had an anime confirmed to be in production. Railgun has the benefit of being Toaru's most popular IP, so Season 4 is guaranteed to do well, unless they decide to screw it up somehow. Item doesn't have that benefit. You will get some of that Railgun audience checking it out, since the Item girls played a good part in the second season, but since Item is making its anime debut, it's harder to tell how successful it will be. Mugano herself isn't as popular with fans as the other Toaru leads, such as Toma, Misaka, and Accelerator. Nevertheless, I feel like it has huge potential to resonate with a wider audience for several reasons. While Item is part of a massive franchise, you don't need to watch Index or Railgun to understand and enjoy it, since it is a prequel, although it would help having some familiarity with this series beforehand. And the plot isn't as complicated as something like Index, but it's not dumb at the same time. You will have to actually pay attention to the exposition that is there. Or you can just turn off your brain and revel in the edgy cute girls killing people. Both is good. I think the Item girls each have their unique appeal and have dynamic personalities which stand out. And it helps they have funny character interactions with each other, proving that they have great chemistry as a cast. We get to spend way more time with them in this prequel and understand their character motives much better than we did in Index and Railgun. Like, what motivates each of the girls to be part of a dark side group like this? Is it purely to earn a crap ton of cash? Or is there more to it than just that? Also, disclaimer, the girls aren't entirely murderous edgelords. There are some people they don't want to kill, and much like Railgun, you do have fun slice of life scenes in between the action if you like to see cute girls doing cute things. And that is a successful formula for anime to this day. However, unlike in Railgun, where the gang are all on the light side and then occasionally get dragged into the dark side of Academy City, Item permanently reside in the dark, with Frenda being the exception due to her links with the light side. Man, it feels like I'm talking about Star Wars here. In regard to the action, Item is very action heavy, with plenty of Esper versus Esper encounters, where the superpowers involve real-life physics and science. Much like the battles in other Toaru series, there are plenty of tactics and strategies that are used during the fights to gain an advantage, where the stronger fighter can often lose to weaker ones. They are really entertaining too, with flashy and creative Esper powers, which is why I love the fights in the Toaru series so much. And with good animation, the action of Item in anime form could be hugely appealing. That's why Item's animation really needs to be at Railgun T's level of quality, or even higher than that, as the most popular shonen battle series live or die by the animation quality during the fights. Just please God, don't give it the Index 3 treatment. I also do think Mugano has the potential to gain newfound popularity due to the spin-off, thanks to her explosive personality, lethal ability, and her assets. Even if her character is disliked by a section of the fandom. For the reason why, I recommend you watch Index Season 3. Without spoiling, she does something which upsets some fans to this very day. And while Mugano does receive character development at the end of Index 3, the most we do see of it is during New Testament, where she goes on a similar redemption arc to Accelerator. Prior to this though, Mugano's character is pretty one note. She has two sides to her personality, her bloodthirsty psycho mode, and her more chill, don't poke the bear mode. I do think Item, however, humanizes Mugano as we learn about her background and her personal values. She doesn't come across as a generic evil villain, which not only makes her a more compelling character, but also rationalizes her behavior in Index and Railgun. While some fans have argued, Mugano in the Item spin-off acts a little out of character for how she is in Index and Railgun, you gotta remember, it's a prequel where she develops into an even more deranged individual than she was 1 year before the main timeline. For more Toaru videos about Item, check out the ones on screen right now, and let me know what you think about Item getting an anime. Until next time.